Be the Good with Kate shows each of us how it is possible to find and follow our passions at any age. But not only that, we can do this while making the world a better place along the way. I'm Kate Chericello, and I'm on a mission to shine a light on the positive news all around us. I hope Be the Good with Kate inspires you to live your purpose and go out and be the good in the world. Join me each week as I have the honor of sharing these stories with you. Subscribe here where you are listening today, or go to katechericello.com/bethegood to be updated when new episodes are released. I get so excited about sharing each and every episode of Be the Good with you, and I hope you enjoy these people and stories. If you're new here, welcome. And if you are returning, thanks so much for your support. I am so glad you found Be the Good with Kate and would love to hear from you. If you are finding value in these episodes, I invite you to share with someone who could also use this dose of inspiration, or tag me on social at positively_Kate with your favorite quote from the episode. Every share, subscriber, review, and comment helps me to share these guests' wonderful work to more people. Thank you for your support. Now on to this week's episode. Let's spread a little more goodness in the world. Welcome back to Be the Good with Kate. Today, I am so happy to introduce you to Stephanie Benedetto. She is a coach, storyteller, and unmarketer. A little bit about Stephanie before I hand it over to her. Her whole business is built around helping the helpers, supporting and promoting them so they can reach more people. I loved that line from her intro. And Stephanie's a coach, storyteller, unmarketer, community catalyst who helps coaches, conscious entrepreneurs, and their teams create the change they wish to see and share their heart's message with playful unmarketing. So I can't wait to dive into more. Stephanie, thanks for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Kate. Thanks for having me.
And just discovered that she is coming at you today from a very far off place, at least to me here in the New York City area. So Stephanie, please tell us more about who you are and also for fun, where you are at the moment.
Yeah, well, currently I am based out of Madeira, Portugal. So it's a beautiful exotic island that's been called the Hawaii of Europe. I'm here for the winter. I am blessed to be able to work remotely, which means I can work from wherever I'd like to be. And this is it for right now. So that's lovely. And currently, I am working with beautiful entrepreneurs, people who are servants and givers at heart, with a message, with a service that they really hope will make a positive change in the world. And so what I help them do is navigate this world of business, which often feels very constrictive and icky and pushy and salesy to them, in a way that feels really authentic and that's actually fun. So that's a little bit about what I'm up to.
And how did you come to this career and this finding your passion along the way?
Oh my goodness. It's been a long journey, Kate. Most of my life, I just kind of went along with whatever opportunities came and whatever was placed before me. I have had several businesses, and one of the most successful and most recent was with my now ex-husband, and we were teaching business and marketing to professionals who were in the wedding industry, because before that, we were wedding professionals ourselves. We were wedding DJs for 15 years. And so we took all the things that we learned about succeeding in the wedding business and turned around and taught it to others. But as I was doing this and I was having a lot of fun and I loved helping people, it wasn't letting me do the deep kind of work and connection that I knew I could and wanted to do with people. So I actually tricked myself into creating the Awakened business. I'll give you the short version of it. So I was working a full-time business and it was doing quite well. We had multiple six figures going on and there was lots to do, but I really wanted to explore. I knew I wanted to work with, I call them the change makers or conscious entrepreneurs. I was drawn to people who were in careers like they were coaches or they were movement practitioners or chiropractors or people who were really helping others. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I embarked on a 100 conversations project. And I said, all right, I'm going to have 100 conversations with inspiring entrepreneurs and just talk to them and find out what they need, what they want, how I can help, see who I'm drawn to and who's drawn to me. And I did it as a challenge for myself. I made a video after every one of those conversations, not about the conversation, but just sort of journaling my progress. And it ended up being what's now the Awakened Business. That was the very beginning. So I just kind of tricked myself and followed what the direction that I knew, even though I didn't know where it was going, and let it show me.
That is so awesome that you came up with this idea. Did you see it somewhere, the 100 conversations?
It was a modified challenge that was actually originally inspired by a gentleman called Kyle Cease. So he did a 100-day challenge. He meditated for, I think, 2 hours a day for 100 days to see what would happen. And he made a video after every one. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. That's not my challenge, but I think there is one. And I just started sitting, what challenge do I want to do? And so that's kind of where the idea came from. But what's funny is that I sat on that idea, Kate, for 9 months before I actually said yes to it. For 9 months, because I was so scared of the immensity of it. And I had all kinds of stories about what it might mean and what if it doesn't work, or I don't even know. But 9 months procrastinating before I started it.
Well, that's a very relatable concept for sure. I mean, I know even just with this podcast, how I first got that first episode was thought about it, wrote about it, do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Important, but also it does become a little procrastinating to just keep it up. And then finally scheduled the first guest. And once it was scheduled, well, there's no turning back now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all the impetus that was needed. So I love to hear these stories about like, oh, I was scared to do it, but then I finally did. And it sounded like it was just a fantastic outcome.
Oh, yeah. So let me tell you a little bit more about that. So what actually got me to do it, I was working with the first business coach I'd ever hired. I'd worked with counselors and different kinds of coaches, but this was my first business coach. And we were having a conversation and I was telling her about this idea that I had. And she said, I was like, oh, I don't think I could do it. There's so many. I had whatever excuses. And she said, well, why don't you just do 10 conversations? And I went, 10? Okay, I could do 10. And it was like suddenly in that moment, it seemed doable. Like 100 that was my big audacious goal, but it was just more than I could step into at the time. I was like, yeah, I can do 10. And let me tell you that within 2 months, I just kept going. It like led me to things. So a friend of mine in a related business was looking for women speakers for her online summit. And I said, I'll do it. And I'll do it as this new thing, whatever this new thing is. And so I used that as an excuse to like get a quick and dirty website up. I created my business name and like it just propelled so much. And in the course of those 100 conversations, I met amazing people. I think I may have had a couple clients come from it. There could have been more if I had been more intentional about it. Those 100 conversations were way more than 100. I actually spoke to some people 2 or 3 times. But what I discovered was what I had to offer. Because just by showing up with someone and listening, things would occur to me just because of my background, my experience, and who I am. And so I just naturally started to like say, hey, what do you think about this? And discover my art of coaching, which used to be more consulty before that. And so there were so many beautiful things that came from it. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But I want to say that, I want to emphasize that because, if someone's listening to this and they have something they want to create, but they don't really know what it is, but there's something stirring, you can trust that taking whatever step you know to take will show you the next one and the next one. It's taking you somewhere beautiful and you can feel it because you're inspired with it. And that doesn't mean that you'll be inspired every step of the way, but it's showing you, like when I talk to people, they know what it is that they want and they know when they're not doing it. You can go for it, knowing that the next step will be revealed and it's going to take you to beautiful places, even though you don't know where that's going to be.
I just love all of this so much. And it's so just on exactly hitting the nail on the head of what I love about this show, too. And to hone in again on that reminder of it's the first step. It's not all the steps at once. It's the first
Yeah.
step. Like, how can something be broken down? It works in the fitness industry. When you're trying to run a marathon, you don't go out and run the marathon. You run for 30 seconds, right? And then you keep going and you keep going. And I love how you were open to this idea that something was there and you had a concept. You weren't it wasn't fully formed yet, but you just kept moving forward and it created something so wonderful, Stephanie. So tell me, what is the most surprising aspect of your life right now?
Mm. The most surprising aspect is that I'm here in Madeira, Portugal.
Mm.
Like that actually, it astounds me. I think even maybe 4 months ago, I'd never heard of this island.
Wow. So how did you get here?
A series of possibly random actions. I'm I'm living my life, Kate, now. Like that in the beginning, the Awakened Business was really the beginning of my own personal surrender experiment. After reading the book, The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, was a part of it, was what does that mean to me? What is surrendering to the flow of life and discovering what that meant? And so over the years, I've just more and more begun doing what I know to do, following my heart, following, I often call it my inner wisdom, but some people call it intuition, whatever you call it, the voice of God, um, without needing to know where it's taking me and often not knowing certainly why. So part of that is how I ended up in Madeira. I stumbled across an article. It even goes back further, right? It's really surprising that I'm living in Portugal at all. I never dreamed that I'd be an immigrant to Europe. So this happened again. I just kind of knew this move was calling me about a year and a half ago. I kind of had felt the pull to Europe. I had a lot of connections here. I was involved in some projects, but it wasn't really on my radar. And one day, after being in it was really a spiritual exploration for a couple of weeks, looking inside. What if what I'm looking for out in the world is already here? And I was like, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means. And just that process of looking, I saw something. I can't even tell you what it was exactly, but it realigned my life. And I knew that day, I'm leaving this place I'm living in. I was in Florida at the time. I'm leaving the relationship I'm in. I'm going to Europe. I think it's Portugal. I think there's this person there that I had just met that I think I'm going to be in a relationship with, even though I had no indication of interest. I'm like, this is crazy. This is all too crazy. But I slowed it down. I had to drop everything I thought that meant and just followed what I knew, the direction, knowing that I couldn't know what it would mean or where it would take me, just that direction, go that way. And I did end up in Portugal, and I did end up with that person who I had just met in relationship. And it wasn't what I expected. I'll tell you that. None of it was what I expected. And through a random article that came up in my feed, as I was thinking about being in Portugal, I want to contribute. I don't want to be one of these Americans who comes in and takes advantage of a low cost of living and has all these consequences of their being there without really giving back. And I was like, well, how can I do that? And I stumbled across this organization called Madeira Friends, and they have a beautiful mission to connect the expats who come to Madeira, who flock here, and the tourists with the local businesses and make a difference. They do lots of charitable events and fundraisers, and they have lots of community activities. And I was just so inspired by it. And it put it in the back of my head, like, maybe I'd like to visit. And so that was how the seed was planted. And eventually it happened. That was kind of a long story to get there. But
Oh, no, it's fascinating. And I'm really hearing a theme in your life. Tell me if this has been your whole life or if this is on the newer side of that. You feel it in your heart and your soul. There's something there, and again, not fully formed, but you go for it because you know you're being pulled in that direction. Were you always good at listening to that inner voice, so to speak, or is this something that's evolved?
hmm. No, I was not always good at listening to it. If I look back, there were always times in my life when I heard it, But I usually didn't listen until I was all out of options and I didn't know what to do. And there are many people who have found themselves in that place when they're desperate. They're at the bottom, they hit rock bottom, and finally they give up and they go, okay, I give up. And they're quiet enough that they can actually hear that voice that's always been there. So that was more me for a while. I was very much a rule follower. I was trying to be a good girl and do things the way they were taught to me for many years. And it wasn't until about 7 years ago, whatever it was that I heard in that surrender experiment, it was like, stop trying to control your life, Stephanie, and discover what life has for you. And there was a seed in that I heard, like, say yes to what life is offering you and inviting you to. And it was an exploration. It wasn't like I did it overnight, Kate. It was an experiment. Again, like, what does that mean? I don't know. And so bit by bit, I discovered that not only can I trust it, it's always available. It's the best I've got. It's way better than what I can come up with in my intellect from my little mind and what I can see. So it's become the way I live, but it was not always, not at all.
Wow, wow, wow. If someone came to you and they said, I'm searching for my passion, I want to make a difference, I'm confused, I don't know where to go next. Is there any advice you'd give that person?
Well, the first thing I would do is I would invite them to get a little quiet, to create a little space for themselves. Maybe that's going for a walk. Maybe that's just taking 5 minutes to do nothing. And don't think about it. Don't think about it at all. When you settle down, you might just see what you hear, like listen a little bit. Not listening for an answer, just listen, like you listen to music, like you listen to the sounds in the room or the birds outside, and see what comes to you. Because this I know. What's here for you, the life that's here for you, is already inside you. The seeds are already there. This might sound slightly cliche, but I love it and I say it anyway, is that every journey you go on starts from right where you are right now. So you're already on your journey of purpose and passion and making a difference. It's already stirring inside you. All you have to do is slow down and get quiet enough to hear it. And the action that you know to do or the thing that occurs to you to say is probably going to be too simple and too small to feel like it could possibly be the thing, but that's it. And that's how it starts. And one thing leads to another. And before you know it, you're in the flow of it.
And there's so many studies to back that up too, and just the more and more I read, and that continually comes up, and it has forever. I mean, everything from the Bible on to, yesterday's expert on the subject. It's slowing down, it's being in the silence and listening. So thank you for expanding on that. That's brilliant answer to the question. And I feel like we could end right there, but I have to ask one more thing that I've been enjoying asking this season to the guests. Why do you feel it's important to share good news and the positive news?
Mm-hmm. Well, I really think it's important because it feels good. That's it. It feels good for me to share it. It feels good for you to share positivity and goodness. It feels good to listen to it. It puts out this beautiful positive energy and shares hope with the world. It's so very simple. It could be as simple as saying, wow, this is the best cup of tea I've ever had. It does not have to be what we think of as life-changing. That one little ripple, we never know where it's going to go. So it's important just for the experience itself. And does it create positive effects in the world? Absolutely. But I don't even think we need to worry about that. Like, just focus on enjoying it. That's good enough a reason for me.
Oh my gosh, Stephanie, thank you so much for being here. And where can everyone find you and follow you online in the Awakened business?
Well, the best place will definitely be my website, theawakenedbusiness.com. I am not on social media almost at all, so you can't find me there. I think I have accounts, but they're dead for years. If you want to learn more about what I'm up to, my adventures on marketing and spiritual business and my personal and business journey, you can hop onto my email list and get regular updates or check out my blog.
Great. Theawakenedbusiness.com. Thank you so much, Stephanie. In taking classes over the years or observing workout videos, one major piece that is often missing: stressing safety and form. Additionally, group fitness classes are often marketed as being open to all levels, yet how often do instructors not give modifications nor progressions so that each participant truly can get what he or she needs out of the class? So that's why I created the 101 series, which take things back to basics with 3 separate courses: Bar 101, Pilates 101, and HIIT 101, focusing on safety and efficiency so you can maximize your workouts. Be confident when you step into a group fitness class or workout on your own. Be strong in your execution of the most common exercises, and be proud of yourself for taking these huge steps forward on your health journey. Check it out at bebykate.com. The link is in the show notes. Thanks so much for listening to Be the Good with Kate Chericello. Whether you're listening on YouTube or via podcast, it would mean the world if you liked, subscribed, and or left a review. You heard about the good? Now go out and be the good in your life this week. If you have stories of good news that need to be shared, please send me a message. Thanks again, and have a great week.